All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining this week's Digital Services Forum session. Today is August 28th, and today's topic is talking about value stream. So right now, it's a fairly new subject for us here at ServiceNow, although we know it's been around for a while in business architecture. So those of you who have a business architecture background, you might be familiar with this. What I'm going to do is show you how ServiceNow is leveraging value streams to best align our capabilities to our customers' vision and strategy. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I'm here with my colleague, Charles Bartley, who's going to be monitoring the chat. So if there's any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat, and then we'll address them as we go. We'll leave a few minutes at the end for Q&A so that folks can ask the questions, and then we also through the forum you can ask questions on the forum itself, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So again, thank you very much, and let's go on. We'll move forward. So welcome to new members. Those who are new to the forum, welcome. Go ahead and put, if you want, your name and your title in the chat when you get a chance, if you want to do that. But yeah, we're really happy to have you. Looking forward to working with you, and hopefully you'll get a lot out of these sessions. So thank you for being a member. So what are we about? Just a quick overview. Really want to be the leader in digital transformation. Thought leadership is really the goal here. So we bring subjects to our members that are most relevant to them. We leave these sessions very interactive. We like to hear from our members, live as much as possible, and interact with each other as well, as that's how we all learn together as we go through these transformation that we're all going through. We do have papers, and we have a demo instance as well. In some of the sessions, you'll see we'll do demos of certain products and capabilities. We do host this as the enterprise architect team. So this is run by the ServiceNow EA team internally. And we do bi-weekly sessions. We do web meetings. We also do other special events. But you'll find all that information in the forum. All right. So today's agenda is really about the value stream. I'm the speaker today, but I do want to call out a couple key contributors. First, Peter Revelis, who really brought this whole concept to us. His work at GE and using lean and working on business architecture has really helped bring some of these concepts to ServiceNow and how we're addressing our customer strategy. So I want to thank Peter, and then Bruce Freilich is our manager. So he manages the enterprise architect team in the East, who's been a pioneer to help drive this across the ServiceNow organization. So I do want to call them out as two key players in this. All right, so let's go forward. So let's start out. What is a value stream? So right now, when we look at it, there's a number of different definitions out there, but basically business activities happen across the enterprise, right? So from a digital perspective, you have customers and employees, and you have activities that need to happen in order to deliver products and services to them. So what we're doing is, with a value stream, we're breaking that up into pieces and allowing us to focus specific products and services to the business value that they drive. So that's really the goal here. And there are some key ones. There are a whole bunch of these, but I wanted to focus on these 7 right here because they probably are most relevant to the customers that ServiceNow is dealing with. And what we'll do is go through an example. So the agenda will be just a high-level overview. We'll go through an example of vision and strategy, and then I'll go into detect to correct, the top one, and show you some detail as to how we do the mapping, how we look at these activities within these value streams, and how we align ServiceNow capabilities to those. Okay. So here's an example vision alignment. So we always start with this. We want to understand where our customer is going with their digital transformation and their strategy. So we always start out with a corporate strategic theme. Where are they going as a company? And then from there, depending on the persona, the C-level persona, in this case, it's a CIO. So these imperatives are really aligned to IT, but it does not have to limit itself to that. There are value streams that are outside of IT that we also address, of course, because ServiceNow being an enterprise platform, we're significantly expanding outside of IT. Most of our customers don't even realize that yet. So, it's something that we're very passionate about, definitely communicating. And there are value streams that we work on as well here. But this is an example of one where we have the CIO strategic imperatives. So we start with this. And then the key really is then how do we best align the value streams to those imperatives? So right now this is a different view of that previous slide. It's a simpler view, but basically making sure that these value streams are aligned to the imperatives. And I'll go into what they are individually so that it'll make sense as to how these imperatives align. But like, for instance, with, detect to correct, if you want to modernize your platforms, if you're trying to if you're trying to get more resiliency in your environment, your detect and correct is really where you're going to start, because you want to detect a problem and correct it, and there are multiple things that have to happen in between in order to deliver that. So where does ServiceNow best align? And that's where we're trying to get to here. But you can see we cross multiple value streams when we look at a customer strategic imperatives, from strategy to portfolio, acquisition to disposal, which is really all about asset management, strategy to portfolio being about portfolio management and demand management, looking at how you're delivering products, ideation to product, an idea going from an idea to a product. That's all about strategy to portfolio. Risk remediation is all about risk, right? Detecting problems, detecting risks, being able to apply the policies and the risk profile of a customer across the enterprise, and being able to apply that. Request to fulfillment is all about how users and customers request products to you, and so that's what that's all about. So these are some of the key ones as well. So when I go to this is one thing that I create when I do my value stream alignment. So now we're starting to get into where are the value streams that best align to the customer's strategic imperatives, right? So, and this is a little bit subjective because there might be multiple value streams, as you can see here, per imperative. And what we do, and again, this is based on looking at where we see the most alignment, and then we look at it vertically. So then once you see it vertically, you see in this example, detect to correct really does cross all of these, which is something we see a lot especially in an IT CIO specific vision, is that you see many times customers struggle with that part. They're doing it, but they have manual processes in between. They may be detecting a problem and correcting it, but it's taking a lot longer. It's very inefficient. So ServiceNow really addresses that through our ITOM capabilities and others, but that's where detect to correct primarily focuses on. So again, just trying to make that alignment here and really taking the discussion away from the specific product, right? Because we're finding that, because ServiceNow is such a strategic platform for many of our customers, when we go in and talk about an individual product without the right context, it's very difficult for our customers to understand how it plays in the overall strategy. So, and that is hard for executives as well, as they're trying to make a decision. Okay, how do I best align this technology to where we're going, and why does it matter to me? So the whole goal of this is really to elevate the discussion to say, look, you detect to correct is going to address it's going to have multiple challenges, multiple capabilities that have to be addressed. So let's talk about, how we address detect to correct, and then we talk about the capabilities that need to deliver it. And some of those might be from ServiceNow and some of them might not be because, of course, the global enterprise, you might already have technology, so there might be integration that we need to look at as well. So again, those are starting these deep dive discussions with our customers, really getting into the details in these subsequent slides. But you'll see here, these are the main ones, and within these, we have the stages. So there are stages within the value stream. Each one has its own unique stages. And then there are certain outcomes that are expected when you deliver to those stages. So this is what this is showing. And we have these for each one of the value streams that we address. And this is how we start to align our capabilities to the value streams and to the customer's strategic vision. So you can see here, as we look at these, we start to pull out the outcomes and we go back and align those outcomes to the imperatives that the customer is asking for and ensure that we're addressing. And that's how we align the vision and strategy and the customer's outcomes to what we're trying to do with the value streams and with our capabilities that align to it. So you can see here with Detect to Correct, which is one of the main ones, and I'll go into a detail of that one because I'm going to take one of these value streams, Detect to Correct, and we'll go into detail as to how we would actually assess where the roadmap needs to go based on that and what are the outcomes. But these are the key ones that we talked about here. And again, we have prescriptive guidance on each one of these as well. So depending on what persona, as I mentioned, would be determining which value stream. But in this case, the customer is using multiple value streams. So now with Detect to Correct, I'll just go into a little bit more detail about it. It's all about detecting and correcting incidents, resolving problems, reducing downtime, and continual improvement. So if you think about that higher level, it's not just about CMDB and ITOM and discovery. This covers much more than that. So when we talk to our customers and say you really want to try to detect a problem and correct it in the most efficient way, leveraging Gen AI, leveraging automation in order to streamline that process and make it more efficient and also make it more effective. So that's the goal of this, is to take these, what I would call stages, right? These are stages, and then within them, there are activities in the stages. And each one of those activities has a specific outcome that ServiceNow can align to. So that's how we address this. So Detect to Correct is one we'll go into detail about. You can see here, there's a number of activities under each stage. And this is where we begin to start to align ServiceNow capabilities to the value streams. We create a one-page summary as part of the workshops that we do. So we'll actually look at what projects, what description of the projects, the benefits of what we're trying to do, who are the people we're working with, and what are the solutions that we think are most aligned to Detect to Correct in their situation. Now, remember, some customers already have capability, so this isn't about all net new. It's about looking at what you're already delivering and if you're delivering it with the most value today, and then what are the incremental gaps or needs in order to truly address, Detect to Correct, and the benefits and outcomes. So that's where we start with what you currently have, and then we'll work to define the where we have gaps in those capabilities. And so this is a detailed summary of the activities inside of each stage. And this is where we start to look at, as I mentioned, how ServiceNow capabilities start to align in each stage. When we look at this is the starting point of where I would then take, as an architect, working with the customer to say, ServiceNow, specific functionalities like AI Ops, CMDB capabilities, advanced discovery, various areas of Gen AI that might be able to help some of this, all is going to be in play. And we're going to go through and actually identify, show you on a subsequent slide, where ServiceNow capabilities would align to these. But these are the activities that we see end to end from Detect to Correct. And so this is a holistic view of what customers are really trying to do, and then we're best aligning to that based on where our capabilities address it. And then this is another view. So we start to look at as it's based on those stages again, but now what do you have now? What's next and what's last? And this is where we begin to, through the workshops and through starting to do the analysis, when we look at this slide and we start to address these activities, what are the capabilities now that you either you already own or don't own yet, or really have, say you own them and they're partially deployed or not deployed. Those are things we can start to call out here and say, okay, this starts to roll out your roadmap. So essentially that's what we're trying to get to, is instead of talking to each individual product and its ability, how does it address the phase that we're in and the stage that we're in, and in what phase and in what timeline are you going to deliver it? And so that's what we're looking at here. What's first, what's next, and what's last.
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
have you got a request? Can you turn off the real-time subtitles because people can't read the slides? It's taking up too much screen.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
How's that? Is that better?
Much.
Okay, great. So let's see. So let me get rid of that as well. So any questions, again, feel free to jump in the chat. But again, this is where we begin the discussion of the alignment in the technology roadmaps that we're creating for our customers. And then this is a simpler version, but it starts to talk more about how, in what areas. So, again, what are the individual functions within the workflows, and when do they come in for detect to correct? And this would vary based on, again, what customer already has, what do they have deployed, and how are they deploying it. But we work together with them to define that. Here's an example of an architecture for detect to correct. So you can see primarily it's ITOM, CMDB, ITSM, but you can see in the color coding where you see event management. So these different monitoring sources, and then you're touching event and CMDB, and you're alerting, aggregating, and then doing service mapping to understand where the dependencies of your business applications are, and ultimately incident management is an escalation, ultimately change management. But you can see where you're touching various capabilities and workflows when it comes to detect to correct. And we define these with our customers and understand what those sources are, how you're doing this today, and then we call out where there are gaps in the solution. Here's what we look at when we're looking at outcomes and results for delivery. So this is typically what we see in the first few months. We're trying to define the critical service incidents, the problems, in understanding where the value stream and where the capabilities are. But we go into details about the outcomes and the results per each phase. And this is helping define the roadmap in further detail so that we know where are the milestones and outcomes for each one of these. And that helps us define, where we're ultimately going to go and how best we're going to deliver it. And here's a different example. So you can see at the left, the programs, which we call, those are the value streams, and each one has capability as well as workflows that align to it. And so you'll see now we start to phase it in by timeline, and then the outcomes to the far right. And again, this brings it all together. So all of the different value streams we're talking about, we bring it all together into a single view. And then we work with our customers to determine what is the priority of these, right? So again, it's all about prioritization and timing, and ultimately what our customers can deliver at what phase. But that's what determines where these lines end up in the capability roadmap. And then here's a different view, more on the workflow. So you can see by value stream, we're looking at which capabilities and workflows go into which phase. It's just a different view of the previous slide, a little bit easier to view, but more focused on the outcomes to the right. So, and then we try to color code this a little bit. Do you own some of this? In this example, the customer had these functions already. And then they anything in green is new capability, and then anything in the blue color is either an upgrade or um, a new enhancement that is needed. Okay. So what's the recipe for success? All about training and building the team. We work with our customers to help at least define what we're trying to do with the value streams, what it means to them. We do have some initial sessions, and then we'll break it out into value stream and have different work streams for those to actually go through them in detail. And then we bring it all together in the end. All about continual improvement, all about elevating the discussion away from products and more on the holistic view of what we're really trying to accomplish with the customer together. And we've seen a lot of value with this with other customers. It's again a fairly new concept here at ServiceNow, but we're definitely seeing the benefit because of the fact that our platform is an enterprise-wide platform that can touch multiple areas of a digital transformation, even outside of IT. These kinds of discussions and alignments are very important for our customers so they can get a bigger picture of what we're really trying to do. So again, that's the end of the piece for value stream. What I do want to say is that the EA team, we do this as part of our deliverables. It is part of what we call the LEAP process. So what we call vision alignment. Within that, we talk more about value streams and what it means for our customers. But you can see all these different areas will deliver results and outputs depending on where you are in your transformation. And then this is a vision to blueprint engagement that we typically go through, and we have prescriptive guidance on what we do with our value stream workshops. As I mentioned, going through each one, doing the alignment and bringing it all together into a technology and strategic roadmap for our customers. And then, so we really want to work with you. I would say if you have any questions, engage your account executive. You can also you can get information from the Digital Services Forum. We will post all the content there for you to see and leverage. And then you can also put your questions in the forum itself, and we'll get back to you when you can. So I'll leave it open now for questions. I know that was a quick overview, and we can delve into some different areas as needed. So let's see, do we have any questions, Charles, in the...
Yeah, we've got one. Liliana, do you want to come off mute and ask your question?
Sure. I was just curious on one of the previous slides where you had build the team, is if specifics and details were available around those roles to help organizations understand how they need to approach this value stream.
Yes, we do. And one of the things, if you look at what I'll do is I'll show, so this operating model, governance and best practices is one of the components that comes together to deliver this. And that is looking at your organization, the roles you have around the platform, and then what are the governance components and best practices. And we try to align that and figure out where there are gaps. So that is a different engagement that can be done, but it's something that we do as EAs. I spend a lot of time on this, actually helping customers define their operating model, especially as you scale outside of IT. It's something that we spend a lot of time on. And in this sense, with value streams, it's really important because you're needing to provide the right roles and phasing those phasing that implementation appropriately. And if you're bringing in teams outside of your typical IT team, it's important to know how you want them to work. You know, what are the guardrails you want those teams to have? Do you want to delegate work to them? As an example, like if you're bringing in HR or customer service, usually some of our customers want those teams want some level of autonomy to do work in the platform. So that's where we start to talk about those roles.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Oh,
I look forward to that.
awesome. Yep. Good. Any other questions there?
Yeah, there's another one around what do we ask our account executive if we want this type of workshop to happen?
Yeah, I mean, just I would reach out to them. We do obviously, you know, we're a limited team. So what we do is we'll work with you to prioritize how we do that, and just get it on a calendar. But that's how I would start, is just work with your account rep and let them know you're interested, and then we can go ahead and prioritize it from there.
Interested specifically in a value stream workshop or a lean workshop?
Yep, correct. And you can see here when I walk through the presentation, you know, we really touch all of these. So when we start with, you know, we're starting with strategy and vision, we're creating a transformation roadmap, we're addressing the operating model, but we're doing it now in a value stream framework, which makes sense versus it being just a typical single product framework, which I think is where the difference is. And as you go to your executives to present this, they don't care about the individual product in most cases, right? They don't care about discovery. They care about the, you know, the results. So when we talk value streams with them, they get that part. Okay, I'm actually trying to strategy to portfolio or ideation to product. You know, we're trying to streamline that. We need to do it faster. We need to get better ROI. We need to have the right resources. So what do we need for that? And so we're having that discussion. And at the end, we can then say, these are the capabilities you need to address that value stream. But we don't talk about the product first and then how it aligns to the value. It's now, here's what you're trying to do. These are the 6 products you need. Some of them you already own, and some of them you might need, or some of them you might own and not have yet deployed. But we'll look at that holistic view and then provide a solution.
I'll jump in with just one of the things that I really love about value stream based approach is you're looking at the end-to-end process set of processes. So
Right.
you really address waste, and you can really address not throwing a problem from one product team over the fence to another product team, gamesmanship, that sort of thing. You're focusing on those business outcomes of the value stream as a whole. So this is just one of my most commonly used tools.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do agree. This is Rob speaking. That's typically what people try. They say, I want to improve maybe incident management or monitoring, but it's not about improving the separate parts of the value stream, but that end to end, like not just incident, it's also CMDB dependencies, as you mentioned, monitoring, knowledge management. There are a lot of things connected to improve from detect to correct, which requires a lot of processes and components to be improved.
Correct.
Well, and it's about your dev teams as much, like tying them in with the world too. Like, how do we know what you just deployed, development team?
Right.
How do we manage that? Is it being monitored? When it breaks, how will you know? Like, it is that end-to-end responsibility, and it helps address tribalism, and it helps address, well, that's somebody else's problem. And it's like, no, we're all not achieving our outcomes because we're not taking a holistic approach.
Agreed. And when we go through these, you know, we can actually walk through these bullets for each stage of the value stream. And there's technologies, there's people and processes on each one. And some of them are being delivered by ServiceNow now, but some aren't. So, you know, then you could start to look at this and say, well, we're not really doing this very well or we're using this technology to close all these records incorrect, but or we have a different set of we have multiple multiple technologies doing this, or we're doing it manually. So those are the things we want to call out, because the idea of this is to streamline it. So the whole outcome is to reduce the time it takes to detect, to correct, and to do that in the most efficient way. So you don't need extra people and extra processes. You want to streamline the process, make it more efficient, and ultimately speed it up. And when you look at this, that's really the goal here. And so when we talk about it like that, when we start talking about these, and I'll go back to this, like that, it becomes easier for the layman and an executive who needs to make a decision. Like, why are we, when you come to them with just one product, it's like, well, what does that mean? And so this gives it meaning and context. And I think that's where I think the value is for us, but also for our customers, because we're able to then directly and decisively align our capabilities to where they're going and where their business is aligned. And that's, our goal is not to sell something that you don't need. I mean, the goal is to make sure we're aligning right where you're at in your transformation so that we can provide more value down the road. So, any other questions, Charles? It looks like
there's a question about, is there a do-it-yourself roadmap that we could follow in partnership with our account reps if we have trained process professionals in the org?
We do have the documentation. I know Bruce and Peter and the team are working on finalizing the assets that would allow at least you to follow along with some of the best practices. So yes, we will have some guidance there. But again, I would work with your rep to find out more. And we do have a ton of, as I mentioned, reference architectures and customer examples where we've done this that can definitely get you started.
I'll just put out too, nothing about this is proprietary to ServiceNow. Like, this is business architecture. And so I know John's presented in the past around the Business Architecture Guild, and he's brought guests in. If you want to go look back at some of those resources, they've got a lot of information on how to map value streams, business capabilities, processes, etc.
And we're taking a piece of all that. It's almost simplifying it. I mean, and aligning it directly to what we're trying to do. So we are tailoring it a little bit, but yes, it's exactly built on that. We've had a couple different sessions there, and I know we do want to bring Peter and the team in as well, hopefully sometime in October, to actually go into deep dives into this. So they can actually go into real deep detail on a couple key customers that we went through. So hopefully we'll be able to have that session sometime in the fall. But you'll see a lot more on this because of the EA team is really focused on it. As I mentioned, Bruce has been really a pioneer here, trying to drive this into the organization, educating our sales teams, educating our internal folks on the value of this with our customers, and then actually doing the workshops. So we've had some good success there. And of course, Charles, you've been involved a lot as well, just having the background in business architecture. So definitely a lot of momentum there.
This is really good stuff. When do you expect EA to publish those docs?
I actually think they're getting close. So there's, I believe, and again, I don't want to commit to a time, but I think by Q4, we should have them by early Q4, end of Q3, Q4. We should have.
Yeah, we need about a month, Jason. Probably about a month out.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't want to commit to that, but I know that there are some documents coming out that'll finalize this and make it customer presentable, which again, that's and we do want to encourage our customers to leverage the documents, and use them, because I think, obviously the EA team can help guide our customers, but for us to actually run workshops for all of them, it's difficult. We're a small team, but definitely want to work with your AE, work with your account team, and we'll definitely prioritize working this with you. So
thanks a lot.
Yeah. Any other questions?
That's all from the forum. Comments.
All right. Well, let me go back to the end here. Just a quick reminder for everyone, when I go back. Let's see. We'll go through here. So I do want to remind you to join the community. I think you all should be members, but that's the link. So when you go in, you can put your questions in there. You can sign up for future sessions as well. All the content that we have will post there. There will be a video as well. So once John gets back, we'll work with him to publish the assets in there. And then again, we encourage you highly to put feedback in, and we always improve. We're always trying to improve the forum, improve our content. So feel free to put any comments in there. You can also reach out to John and myself via email. But again, thank you for the time today. Really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. This was great.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Great job, Jason and Charles.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Hey, Shane, don't be a stranger to the Digital Services Forum.
I won't
Hey,
be.
Jason, great job. Really appreciated this. A very concise way to help people find what they need. I really would like a copy of the PowerPoint. I know you guys claim to post it, but the only thing I can ever see in that blog is the YouTube video. And is there a way to get the actual PowerPoint or a PDF of it?
Yeah, there is. And I'll work with with Bruce and Peter, because I want to make sure we get you guys the right content and the publishable content. Most of the stuff, all the stuff that I showed here is presentable, customer present. It's nothing's proprietary. So that should be okay. But again, I'll work with them just to make sure. I just want to make sure I publish the right information. So, but yes.
Yeah.
we should be able to
Any
do that.
idea when this will actually be up?
As soon as John gets back early next week, we'll have the content from this particular presentation in PDF format, and then I'll also have the video. He'll do some editing to the video depending. So, but that only takes a couple days. So I expect it to be early next week. Well, with the holiday, maybe a little bit later, but yeah, not too long. We should have the content from this session out there next week.
Okay.
And
So
if
you've
you
done
go
this-
out to the forum and look, there's posts for every meeting that we have. And if you drill into the past posts, you'll see the YouTube video there. But below that,
Yeah.
you'll see a link, and it'll have it to the PowerPoint directly.
And it requires a password to log in to get to that PDF. So I don't have that password.
I think it's just the logging into the digital service, into the ServiceNow community.
The site requires a password. Enter your password here. So
Okay. Was that the link that's here? Is that what you're trying to get into, the forum link?
yeah, you go there, it takes you to that screen capture of all the different recordings you guys have ever done. And then if you want the actual PDF, when you drill down on one of those trials and tribulations, whatever, there'll be a link that he's talking about, but that one is locked down.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
think all you've got to do is that login button that's in the upper right-hand corner. If you don't have a ServiceNow community account, you can create one just with your work address, email address. There's nothing that complex about it. And then once you've logged in, I think it lets you download them.
Yeah, I've had one for 5 years, but it's not letting me in. Oh, well.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
definitely look.
So anyway, that's why I'm taking a minute to ask you for the actual PDF.
Yeah, no worries.
All right.
If you want to,
Thanks.
yeah, you can post a comment in the forum. Just, I know you can do that. And then that comes to me and John and Charles. So we actually get a notice of it just to remind us, and then I can get you the PowerPoint directly.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.